How you doing, guys? Mighty Dad here again with Mighty Dad Plays. What I'm bringing you today is a basic setup on how to create a bioactive system for an Amazon tree boa. This Amazon tree boa I actually picked up today from a local pet store for $100. It was amazing. It was great. It's a 4-footer. He's big, but we're going to be able to fit him into a 20-gallon terrarium, and we're going to get him set up just perfect. So, coming up next, I'll show you the setup. And we're back, and I have a fantastic little helper with me. If you take a look here, this is Mighty Dad Jr. Say hi.
Hi.
This guy here is going to be helping me today with this build and with this setup. If you guys are ready to go, let's get into it, okay? As you can see here, we're going to start off. We're going to have our dishes for the setup here, right? We're going to have our dishes. We're going to have the hidey hole for this big guy. And I'm going with something this size because, like I said, he's about 4 feet. He's a pretty good sized Amazon tree boa. I picked this up today. And if you like, by the way, guys, I will link everything in the description below so that way you guys can pick this up off of Amazon. This here is a color changing LED light that's going to be fantastic for the tank. It's going to be great. This screen here is basically going to be the layer between the rocks. Show the rocks. And the false bottom that we're creating with the charcoal and everything else. We're going to get to that here in just a moment. This will hold a layer between the humidity that's being built by the false bottom and what's going to be reaching the soil. So our next step is going to be the screen top. Of course, this tank didn't come with a screen top. I actually picked it up for $10 from the reptile place that I bought the snake from. We're going to have a heating pad underneath the false bottom, which is going to allow for the humidity to rise to the soil and feed the plants. Next up here is going to be the soil. This here is Zoo Med Reptisoil. The reason why I bought this today is because I wasn't able to find any Eco Earth. Any of the bricks is ridiculous. None of the pet stores had it. But that's okay. We'll move on to the next part here. So we're going to mix this here with the bark, this cypress mulch here, along with some sphagnum moss and some Spanish moss. What this is going to allow for is the humidity to continue to build inside the terrarium and allow the plant's roots nourishment and water so that way they don't dry out. It'll be ideal for the plants itself. It'll be ideal for the Amazon tree boa. And this here, this is a stick that looked like a gun, and my sons thought it was fantastic, so we're going to add it in to the terrarium itself. All right, our next step is that we have here the 20-gallon terrarium. All right. Along with that, to go in between the false bottom and the screen, and I keep it in this bag for a reason. I'm going to show you here in just a moment. Some horticulture charcoal. This is very important to the isopods that you're having in your tank for a bioactive terrarium. The reason why is because it creates carbon. It allows food for the plants to transition more easily. It allows the isopods some exposure to carbon so that way they're able to grow and multiply. For the false bottom itself, we're using rocks, right? This is why I'm keeping it in that bag. All right. For the rocks, this is what we're using for the false bottom. What this is going to do is that it's going to allow the water to collect on the bottom without becoming stagnant. And it's going to refilter back into the soil itself through the screen. Here we have our 5-gallon bucket. The 5-gallon bucket is primarily going to be used for mixing the Reptisoil with the bark, with the moss, and mixing it all together. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and get this set up. So, come with me. What we also have is our isopods. Our isopods are very important in order to break down organic material, especially organic waste. Snakes poop a lot. A lot. Especially after feeding. So these guys are going to help with that. Any additional material that dies off or anything else like that needs to be broken down and refiltered back into the environment itself. Needs to be refiltered back into the environment itself. Now, to help with that, we have our plants here. So, of course, I have a selection of ivy, some grasses, some figs, and some fuzzy ferns. It's very pettable. All right. These guys are going to be the sole proprietor of the tank. This is going to take up a lot of the space. This is going to provide hides, and it's also going to allow the isopods a hiding place, a home to eat off of, to feed off the roots, and allow for the environment to process naturally and add oxygen to the room. It's going to be great. They'll throw it in the bloopers too.
Okay, shut up, numbnuts.
You have a YouTube, don't you? It's called K-Life. There's
Shut
like
up.
3 of those, by the way.
I don't care.